Well, I think this is going to be part 4, and I'm going to show you in this one just how I kind of put the pages together or choose the pages for each of the 2 that we're working on. So this one, these are the pages for it. So I'm going to set those over here. And these are the pages for this one. So here is the one that had the fabric on the inside, which is dry now. And the fabric is nice and soft. It's not stiff or anything. Very, very smooth. I do want to trim some of the excess fabric off. So right about here, it looks like I got stretched a little bit. I think when I closed it, I stretched it a little. So starting here at the spine, I'm going to just do a little trimming with my pinking shears. And just leave like about, an 1/8 of an inch or so sticking out. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be kind of raggedy. So there we go. So I like that. So now it's kind of even with the rest of it. And then I think up here it needs to be trimmed just a little too. Sticking out just a little too much. But I do like how it's sticking out, and the colors of the fabric really go nice with the cover. And plus I like the fact that this is a children's school book, and that little dress was a little girl's dress from about that era. So she might have worn that dress to school, although that was kind of a small dress, more of a toddler size. Okay, so I think I don't need to trim the rest. I think it's going to be okay. There's some thread sticking out right here. So that's pretty good. So let's take a look at the pages I picked out for this one. Also, I did do some measurements. So the pages I want to fit in here are going to be probably about, I'm going to go 5.5 because that would put it right about here. So pages will come out to about there. So 5.5 by about 7 3/4, more or less. 7 3/4 would be about from here to here. This one actually is slightly taller than the other one. So although I wanted them to be the same size, they're not exactly. But it's like less than 1/8 of an inch really difference. Okay, so let's start working on this one. And I'm going to get the pages out for it. So yeah, look at the spine. I'm really happy with it. And there's where the little patch is. It's brighter blue there, which is okay. And you see how remember how these edges were really worn and thin? And now, see, they're very strong. The glue and the fabric has strengthened them. And I'm fine with them now. They're great. And of course the corners are raggedy. And I suppose I could put corner things on them. I don't usually use, by the way, excuse my hands. I still have paint on them from yesterday. It's early morning here, like really early. I get up early. So I'm not going to put any corner things on them. I just don't do that. I like how they look worn and, raggedy. I like that look. Okay, so the pages for this one are right here. This is Along Friendly Roads. So here's what I have chosen for them. I have tea stained and avocado stained paper. And this is some vintage wrapping paper. This is some tea stained coloring book. This is actually a newer copy of Dick and Jane, but I tea stained it. And then just a bird page, a flower page. This is a page from Alice and Jerry, and it's a bigger book. So, and I will have to get creative on how we do this one because I don't really want to cut any of the picture off. So I probably will do some folding. I could cut this one. This page could be cut here, which would probably make it about the right size. This one I don't want to cut any of this, so we'll see. So I also have other children's book pages. Oh, this is from a poster, a Cavallini poster of the alphabet. And so I think that would look nice in there. It's smaller, but that's okay. And of course the pages from the book, which they're going to need some help. This is actually going to be too big because the way the book was bound, so it was able, these pages they fit differently when you take them out. So I'll probably end up just cutting all of this middle section out and hinging that. And this will have to be hinged because it's just half a page. And I'll probably attach it to this one. So I'll put those two together. I think this one, yeah, so there's that. And I don't know if I'll use all of these or not. I might not. I might put one of these in the other one and take one of those and put it in here. So this is part of a poster. I just thought the picture looked nice for a children's book. It's very shiny, but that doesn't bother me. I don't mind things that are shiny once in a while. So this is from another children's book, and it's going to have to be hinged with this. Isn't that cute? And this one just needs to be trimmed a little, and so does this one. And then, so here's just kind of a different kind of a children's book. I think this is from A Child's Garden of Verse, and another different book. And that's it. So, oh, and one of my jelly prints. Okay, so let's start by looking at the pages we're going to have to do something to. Let's start with the actual pages from the book. So I'll set the rest of these aside. I don't want to get them mixed up with the other ones, so let's move those. Okay. All right, so yeah, these are going to have to be trimmed. So I wrote down the measurements. I want this should be 5.5 or 11 this way. So let's look at this. This is actually, yeah, it's almost 12 inches. So I'm going to be just cutting right down the middle here because I don't really want to cut off any of this or this. So let me get out my bigger paper cutter. And see if you'll be able to, I think this will work. Okay. So what I'm going to do is cut it at 5.5. And then that way I can just hinge it and get rid of that edge. And see now, I can put it together. That's great. And I really didn't lose anything of the picture, just a little bit of the trees on this side. So this one is ready to put together. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here at 5.5. I'm going just slightly under, actually. So I'd rather take more off of this end than the other end. Okay, that's good. And then there's these two. So there's 5.5. And 5.5. That gets rid of a lot of that raggedy edge, which is good. Okay, I'm going to cut this one a little bit bigger because it's probably going to be one of the first pages in the signature. Okay, those are ready to be fixed, and I think what I'll do is I'll do a couple of them and show you how I do it, and then I'll just do a lot of cutting and kind of stop the camera. Okay, So let's start with this one. And do I want to put these two pages together? You know, this page has nothing on it but text. Let's see how many pages I have here. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I might get rid of some of the pages that don't have anything but text on them, if there are 2 of them. Yeah, these 2 pages here. So these I'm going to take out. I can use them for other things, collage, whatever. Maybe make some pockets out of them. So let's get rid of those. Now we're going to just have pages with pictures on them. And now we'll have, and that was actually kind of too many anyway. Okay, so the first page is this one. So I will be putting the hinge probably on this side because I don't want to cover up any of the picture. So let's see what page I'm going to put with it. I think this, how about this one? Yeah, so, yeah, that'll be okay. So I'll put these together like this. Okay, so what I use for hinging is, this is what I like to use. This, it's kind of like a rice paper maybe, or handmade paper. It's very strong because it has these fibers in it. And they run all the way through it. And so I've never had a problem with using this as a hinge. Let's see if I have any pieces already cut. Okay, so I'm going to have to do that. Actually, don't cut them. I like to tear them. So what I'm going to do is, here's my edge, and I take a water brush, and I'm just going to make, this about 3/4 of an inch wide. I'm just going to draw a line with my water brush. And that way I can tear it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that little line. I think you can. Okay, let's just pull that apart. Okay, then sometimes when I get to some of these really big fibers, I have to get my scissors out and cut them. Just tear this down. I cut that. So there's a fiber there I'm going to have to cut. Okay. I'm going to cut that one right there. And that one. Okay. See, these fibers are really strong. Okay. So there's my strip, and so I'm going to, this is going here. This is going here. Now then, I just glue it with glue stick. It works just fine. So I'm just going to use this as my thing to glue on so I don't get it all over my desk. I'm using, this is Amazon Basics all-purpose glue stick. And it sticks really well. It's kind of it's not a real creamy glue stick. It's more of a little bit stiffer one, and it holds great. I just use it very liberally. I buy this stuff by the case because this is what I use for a lot of my collage. I think that's probably enough. I don't think I need the whole piece here, and it works good. Okay, so just going to glue this side first, and I'm just going to kind of lay it on there. It's sort of transparent, so I can see that it's halfway onto the page, like that. Okay, just kind of pat it down. And I'm going to lift it up and lay it right on top of this page. And I mean, I would go this way or this way. Either way works. It doesn't really matter which one is was the actual page edge. So I'm just going to lay this right here like so. And I'm just going to put it right next to the other one with just a tiny hairline. I don't want to overlap or anything. I want to leave just a tiny little space in between. Okay, so I'm going to press that down really good. And then I'm going to cut off this little extra piece. I'll save that for another one. I can actually piece these things together and they work just fine. Actually, let's just do it like this. And cut that off. Okay. Save that piece. So I like the way it looks. This paper is white. I do like to tea stain it so it blends in with my other pages. And actually I'm going to turn this way. This is how I want to have it in the book. And it doesn't really matter which side the seam is on or the hinge. So there it is. And now my page is the size I want. It's 11 inches, I think. Yep, it's exactly 11 inches. And the height is the right height too. So that page is done. So I'm going to do the same thing with these. And when I'm done with that, I will turn the camera back on. All right, so these are all now put together, glued together and hinged. And they just need to be set aside to dry for a few minutes. So I'm going to set those over here and start going through the pages that I picked out and seeing how they are going to fit. So here they are. Okay, so some of these like this, I know that doesn't need any adjustment. Just pile them up over here. This one, so remember I want to go about 7 3/4 inches high. And this one is, it's over 8, so I'm going to have to trim some on this one. And I usually like to trim kind of on a page like this. I'll take some off of each end. So I'll take a little off the top and then I'll finish it up on the bottom. So 7 3/4, that'd be right about there. So that way it doesn't look, you know, off-centered. It looks more normal. Okay. So this one, height-wise, it's going to be okay, and width-wise, it needs to be, if folded in half, it needs to be at 5 1/2, and it just fits. So that one's going to be okay. And this one I think is going to be too tall. Let's see. 7 3/4. Yeah, and it's just going to take a little off, so I'm just going to take it off the bottom. And the width is supposed to be 5 1/2. So I'm going to take a little bit off the width. Okay. I think that this one height-wise is going to be fine. And let's see how the width is. Okay, so I don't really want to take off that much. So I'm going to take it off here and hinge it. So I'll just cut it here, and then I'll put a hinge on it later. So 5 1/2. This way I don't really lose too much of the picture. See? Yeah, that'll be fine. So I'll set that aside to do the hinging later. So let's see how tall this one is. It looks kind of tall. 7 3/4. Yeah. So I'm going to take a little, I think I'll just take it right off the bottom. Not that much. And 5 1/2. Just going to take a little tiny bit, a little sliver off. This one's going to need to be hinged also, so I'm going to set that aside. to do later. Okay, so this one height-wise is fine. So let's see how it is on the width. Just needs to be a little bit trimmed off a little. This one's going to require some folding. Let's see how the height is on it. I think it's going to be okay. 7.5 or 7 3/4. Yeah, it's just the right. I'm going to have to do some folding on that one, so I'm going to set that one aside. That one's small, so I know it's going to be okay. I have a feeling this one's going to be too tall. It is, yeah, it's 9 inches, so I'm going to have to take quite a bit off of this one. I think I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom, and then the rest off the top. So I'm going to go 7 3/4. Wow, that's putting it really, that's taking off quite a bit. So I'm going to take a little bit more off the bottom. Don't need the page number. Okay, I don't want to cut anybody's head off. 7 3/4. It's right there. Okay, it just came close, but it didn't cut his head off. And let's see, for 5.5 on the width, I'm gonna have to take about a 1/2 inch off. And I guess I will just take it off here at this edge. So 5.5. Just cut off Spot's head. Well, his head was in the doghouse anyway. Okay, that's all right. I think this one's going to be the right size. This wrapping paper, let's see if I need to trim on that. Yeah, I'm just going to take that off right there. And let's see, 5.5. Just a little bit. Okay, so this piece of this jelly print is the size of the rest of the pages, except for these, which are a little smaller. So I'm just going to see how much am I going to have to trim off these pages. At 5.5, just trimming a little bit off. And on the height, 7 3/4. So I'm going to have to take about 1 inch off. So I'm just going to do that much off the top. And at the bottom. Okay, so that's okay. So I tea stained my jelly prints because I was realizing I wasn't using the papers because they were so white. Okay, let's see if these are the right size. So 7 3/4. Just need to trim a little, and I'm going to trim that ragged edge off right there. And 5.5. Yeah, so I'm just going to trim the ragged edge off of this one also. And then I'm going to have to trim the rest of these tea stain papers. So they're going to need to be trimmed just a teeny little bit that way, and I will kind of decide which end I want to cut off, and I'll cut just going to be cutting about that much off of each of these pages. So I will stop the camera and come back when that's done. Okay, so these now are hinged also. This one here was just about the right size and didn't really lose much of anything there. And this one was smaller, so I didn't have to trim anything off. And this one, so what I did here was I made the fold, I did the hinge right here, and then so that left this as one complete page, which I like. And then this one will be a flip out. And actually, this is the actual that was the center where the fold was, but now it's writing space, so that's okay. And then it just can be folded out like this so you can see the whole picture. So now I have these pages done, and here's my other stack. Don't think it's going to be quite enough to fill up this journal. Let's see, where's the cover at? So this one is Along Friendly Roads, which was a little bit thicker than the other one. So I'm going to put these inside, and it's not quite full enough. If I was doing lots of embellishing, it might be enough, but I think I'm going to add more pages to this. So I will go back through my papers and see what else I want to add. I usually like to have like a 50-50 ratio, kind of depending on whether it's a naked journal or not. If it was a naked journal, I like to have more writing space and less picture. So I'm just going to divide these up and see how many of each we have. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 of these, and I don't think there's even 17 of these, so I can definitely add a lot more tea-stained paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so I will add probably at least another dozen or so pages of writing space, and that will definitely make a difference. And then maybe I might add a few extra pages from other books too. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. I think that might be it for today, unless I think of something to add. Thanks for watching.